Right. So we are doing the mock exam. Okay, so if we were to look at question 1, MCQ, okay, statements about elements and compounds that is actually true. So what is this? Okay, remember we talk about elements. What are elements? Elements are those that you can find in the periodic table. So if you're familiar with the periodic table, you can actually understand how the elements are actually being arranged, right? And if I were to tell you which period and which group, you should be able to identify which element I'm talking about. Okay, if y'all can recall all this, it will be wonderful. Compounds. Compounds, if you can recall, what is the definition of compound? Something that contains two or more elements chemically combined together in a certain ratio. Still remember that? Okay, there must be some chemical reaction that has taken place for compounds to be formed. So if you are looking at the statements now, okay, let's take a look here. Elements and compounds can exist as molecules. What's the meaning of molecules? Maybe it is not such a fair question to ask yet because you have not gone through atoms and molecules. But what this means is, okay, for example, if we are talking about elements, you know that oxygen on its own here as an atom, we call it an element. We can also call O2 an element because it's just made out of oxygen only, correct or not? But between O and O2, right? Okay, there is something different between them. You went through already, Hannah. Oh, correct, Hannah. Your school taught that chapter first, right? Okay, so you will understand this better, isn't it? Okay. So now, if you take a look again, there's another one, O3. Okay, O3 is actually also classified under element, but what is it that is so special? Okay, this is actually a molecule of an element. Okay, and I can also refer to O2 as well. All right, then this alone, this is an atom of an element. And this element we are talking about is oxygen. Okay, can see that? So yes, element can exist as molecules. What about compounds? Yes, Jensen.
I still don't understand what's a molecule.
Okay, molecules are actually formed when two or more atoms are combined together. Okay, the difference here is two or more atoms because we haven't learned that topic yet. Okay, but like I said lah, certain topics we can merge. In fact, I can merge many topics to set one question, you know, so they are linked from one part to another part. Now, Jensen, if you are asking me the question here, what is a molecule? Okay, I think out of everyone, right, it should be Hannah who understands this the most. What is molecule? Okay, so molecule is actually made up of two or more atoms. Okay, all right. So what is the difference between compounds and molecule? Compounds we define as this one, Nikki is here. Okay, compounds are formed when two or more elements. So the keyword here is elements, and then we also have the other one, atoms. Correct now. So two or more elements chemically combined together. So don't mix up. So when we talk about compounds, right? Compounds may be things like H2O. There are two elements here involved, hydrogen and oxygen. Can see that? Okay. Then we also have things like maybe HCl, hydrochloric acid. So this is also a compound. This is also a molecule in that sense. Okay, but this is molecule of two different elements in this case. Okay, so molecules of two different elements. Yes, Nikki.
Hi, just sorry I was late because I was just eating dinner, and then my dinner ended a bit late. So at least I understood all the MCQs. So this question should be fine, shouldn't be too challenging.
Sure, no problem. That's good to know. Thank you for telling me. Yes, that's right, Hannah. Your molecule definition, yeah, same as what I have here, right? So two or more atoms, this is two or more elements. So molecule can also be formed from atoms of the same element, like I already have highlighted over here, or I have indicated over here. Now I highlight. So this is molecule of element. There are two atoms formed here. And then we also have three atoms forming, okay, a molecule, but they are all from the same element. But if that is a compound, then your molecules, right, is actually made up of two types of element or three types of element. Depends. It really depends on what we are talking about. Okay, let me see. Hydrogen and oxygen molecule. Is hydrogen and oxygen a molecule? If you're talking about hydrogen gas, thank you for asking. I think that is an important question to ask as well. Okay, so hydrogen gas. All right, so when we talk about gases, sometimes we just say, okay, we have a lot of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the air, right or not? We say that, isn't it? So we didn't specifically say gas. So when we talk about oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, these are the gases in the air. They exist as molecules. Okay, so you're not wrong to say that hydrogen and oxygen are actually molecules. But unless we are talking about hydrogen atom, then it's not molecule. It's not hydrogen gas. Hydrogen atom and hydrogen gas are different. Okay, so this is hydrogen, one atom. If you are talking about hydrogen gas, it exists as a molecule, which is H2. Okay, this is just an atom and it's not stable on its own. Okay, the atoms are not stable on their own. Louis asked me, an atom is made of electron, neutron, and protons. Yes, if you are going to look into an atom, the inside of one atom is very interesting, like an entire universe, Okay, so you can see a nucleus right in the center. Inside the nucleus, you have neutrons and protons. Outside the nucleus, right, you have the electrons moving in orbits, just like, the planets in the universe, right? Okay, so they are always moving in certain orbits, something like that. Louis, you already studied that chapter? That's interesting. Or you just read out on your own? STEM, yeah. So you covered some parts, right? No worries. When we go on to that chapter, it's going to be very fun. It's going to be very fun. All right. So, Nikki, yes?
Speaking of STEM, I attended a STEM workshop at school today. I think it's by the Science Center. I think it's where you need to build a cardboard chair to test strength, whether it can hold how many bottles of water.
Okay,
The
so
1.5 liter bottle.
you have to make good use of materials, knowledge of materials.
Yes,
Okay, and then you also need to also look into different aspects, right?
yes,
How many layers you want to put your cardboard, and then you need to consider pressure as well. Okay, that will be Sec 2 topics, okay,
yes.
forces and so on. Good, very interesting. Now, elements exist only as atoms. I already said elements can exist as molecules, right? Okay, so this is not true. Elements and compounds cannot be broken down by chemical means. Remember, this water is a compound. It can be broken down by what? Do you still recall which process? Okay, by electrolysis, and you don't need to know exactly what kind of setup for electrolysis. Okay, you just need to know by passing electricity through water, we can break it down. That is a chemical means. That is a chemical method. Electrolysis definitely will be covered in Sec 3. Yeah, some schools cover in Sec 4. Yeah, but next year you will revisit electrolysis once more. Elements can be broken down by chemical means, compound broken down by physical means. Wrong, okay? This is wrong as well. So only statement A is correct. Elements and compounds can exist as molecules. Let's go on. Question 2. Which of the following cannot be separated by physical methods? Physical methods. Physical methods, we can only separate what? Separate mixtures, right? So let's talk about mixtures now. Okay, so you are talking about like example salt solution. We can separate using physical methods, right? Then maybe also sand plus water. So these are the mixtures that can be separated by physical means. So they are looking for something that cannot be separated. Yes, air can be separated. What is the method we use? The method we use is fractional distillation. This is a physical separation process just by making use of the boiling points of the different components. Water need need chemical means, right? So electrolysis. We talked about it just now. So yes, Serena, you're fast. Okay, you put down B immediately. So yes, this is a chemical method. Thank you. All right, so salt solution, we use what? If you want to get back your salt, you use evaporation to dryness. If you want to get back water, okay, you will use distillation. Write down somewhere, okay? Copy down all these separation methods. Then if you want to get the sand and salt separated, okay, you must take note, children. You must take note. All right. Because if you are just looking for one component like sand, of course, we simply use filtration. That is the simple way of separating it. But if you want sand as well as salt separate out nicely, there will be more than one step involved. Okay, so first thing you do is to dissolve this mixture in water. What will dissolve? Only the salt will dissolve, right? Sand cannot dissolve. Okay, so next step will then be to separate out the sand and the salt solution. So carry out filtration. After you carry out filtration, your sand will be trapped in the filter paper. Therefore, you get your sand taken out of this mixture already. But you're left with the filtrate with salt solution, right? Okay. So this one, we remove sand. So next step will be to evaporate the filtrate. Evaporate the filtrate. The filtrate is actually the salt solution. All right, so this is the salt solution. So once I evaporated the water from the salt solution, I will get my salt. All right. Yeah, I think that's about it. Can't really just stop here. This is a very brief one. If you are asked in the exam, you have to write down in detail. The step by step. Everything must be fully written out and described clearly. Okay, so our answer is B. Question 3, which mixture can be separated using magnet? If you want to separate out using magnet, you should be looking out for magnetic material. Can you tell me what are the magnetic materials that we have? Type into the chat or you can unmute yourself also. Yeah, very good. Thank you, Nikki. You are very fast. So first one, we have iron. Okay, then we have steel. All right, then we have nickel. And lastly, cobalt. Yes, so 4 of them. Now, if you want to separate a mixture of iron and steel, you can't use magnet because both attracted by the magnet, right? Glass and copper, none of it will be attracted. Okay, no attraction. Rubber and sulfur, no attraction. Aluminium and iron, yes, this will be attracted by magnet.